the main impact of candidate assessments when it comes to diversity, inclusion, and equality is that they allow you to diversify away from existing traditional hiring practices, which are themselves inherently very discriminatory. Okay, organizations get this very much the wrong way around. They are very, very concerned about the adoption of anything new, worried that it's somehow going to impact diversity and inclusion. And it's something they need to be concerned about for sure, but it's so blind to how things currently are. So blind, because the way traditional hiring practices work, they are almost the perfect tools to discriminate against people. So for example, very first thing people will require is some sort of educational requirement, UCAS points, degree classification, or which university they went to. It's hard to imagine anything more discriminatory on the basis of socioeconomic status. And as a proxy for that, ethnicity. Obviously, white Oxford graduates just do well here because of inherent privilege, not because of competence, not because of expertise, not because of potential, pure, unchosen, unreliable variance in selection. And that is in the minds of a lot of TA professionals. That's fine. That's perfectly fine. That's just a core part of our recruitment process. It's always been that way. We're not going to change it. As if the goal was to improve equality, diversity. It doesn't seem to be the goal. What else? CV sifting. Again, we know from the research, and we have decades of it by this point, is an assessor looks at the name on the CV, and if it's a woman, or if it looks like it's someone from a particular ethnic background, the odds of them being picked are lower. That's just what it is. Implicit unconscious bias is a thing. It happens. It's not something you can get rid of. Lots of research has been undertaken on the effectiveness of training in this area to bring conscious bias to the surface. Most research suggests it either doesn't help or makes it worse. Just brings it to the surface, indeed. Makes it conscious. Draws attention to these issues, and a lot of people they don't like the training, and as a result they rebel against it for political, ideological reasons. It doesn't help. But you still use it. You still use CV sifting as a tool, which is a especially discriminatory way, inevitably, to screen. Interviews, again, really, really vulnerable to unconscious bias. It's the perfect tool for a racist to just not hire people. For a misogynist not to hire women. You give full control over to a person. There's no checks, there's no balances. It is just the ideal tool for discrimination. That is not ideal, but it's almost as if talent acquisition just think this is perfect. This is exactly how we should be hiring people, and any deviation from this is going to make things worse. When in reality, it is the opposite. Any addition, any replacement to these things can just diversify away from these hiring practices, which we know are inherently discriminatory. So using online assessments and candidate tests, what you do is you just reduce the impact of traditional hiring practices and use things which are just objectively more reliable, more standardized, more free of bias. Okay? Because you imagine things like ability tests, personality questionnaires, these are tangible products that have undergone significant research. We can do a lot more with a psychometric assessment than we can do with an interview, which lasts 50 minutes and then is done. Whereas a product, like a questionnaire, you can try that on 1,000 people before bringing it to market, 10,000 people before bringing it to market. You can see if it is discriminatory on the basis of ethnicity or gender or any other legally protected group. These are things you can investigate and correct. Whereas with interviews, no chance. With interviews, you don't have that flexibility. That's why online assessments, that's why candidate tests are a better tool for addressing this issue in recruitment. It's a level playing field, it's a standardized playing field, and these are products that you can truly investigate and ensure that there is no bias. Unlike traditional assessments, which are just completely and irrevocably vulnerable to just the unconscious biases the assessors using them. So the biggest impact that they have, online assessments in recruitment, is just improving and diversifying away from things that are traditionally done in recruitment, which are notoriously weak.